Good morning, A-Pushers. We're going to take a look at the Articles of Confederation, which was the America's first constitution. It was created in 1777, immediately after the Declaration of Independence, and it lasts for a little more than 10 years. And so we're going to take a look at, number one, why it was created, and we're going to start to look at maybe exposing some of its weaknesses, which you all will complete by doing the case studies activity and assignment that is due tonight. Okay, so first of all, let's talk about what this is and why it was created. So, the Articles of Confederation were created, like I said, in 1776 because the Americans, after they declare independence, they know that they need to form some kind of government, okay? They knew that they wanted to create some kind of a republic where they vote for elected leaders. And so they have a lot of influence from like Rome and also obviously Parliament in Great Britain. But they also knew that they wanted to protect individual citizens and states from a very powerful government, because that's what they had with King George, was a way too powerful government in their eyes. So what they do create and what they want to create is like this enlightened version of a Roman Senate. Okay, so you elect people to make decisions for you. So to really understand, you have to really understand the historical context behind the way they were set up already in order to understand how they envisioned this Articles of Confederation would be created. So when we think about it, each one of the states, they already had their own constitution. They already had their own legislature through the colonial assemblies. They had an elected governor, most of them. Some of them had an appointed one. And 8 out of the 13 states already had their own Bill of Rights. But they did recognize that there was some kind of need for a national government. They knew they needed a national government to deal with foreign affairs, sign treaties, create a military to protect them. So what they do and what they create is our very first constitution, known as the Articles of Confederation. Now, actually, they pretty much get wiped out in 1787 with the Constitutional Convention, but it takes 2 years to get the Constitution ratified. All right, so again, to put this in perspective, the word confederation, if you look it up, means loose brotherhood. Okay, they're loosely connected together and have something, in case they need to come together. But essentially, and they consider this like a league of friendship. And so that is exactly how it functioned. And what they start to see, and what you're going to do through these case studies in a little bit, is you're going to start to see how this really begins to unravel. Okay, so how were they set up, right? So the way the Articles of Confederation were set up is that each state could send between 2 to 7 representatives to the National Congress, but every state only had 1 vote, no matter the size. To pass any laws, 9 out of the 13 states had to agree, and it had to be completely unanimous, all 13 of them, to even change the Constitution, or I'm sorry, it is the Constitution, the Articles of Confederation. The national government was supposed to settle, any disputes between states, which they really didn't. They had to negotiate treaties, which they did not, handle Indian affairs, and oversee a military, which never came together. Okay? However, the way that it was set up, all other powers, basically everything else, was supposed to be left up to the states, and it was. Okay, so the states were extremely powerful. So, and again, just to review, they didn't want to recreate an extremely powerful government. Okay, they just broke up and they were in the middle of fighting a Revolutionary War, and so they didn't want to create another very powerful government that had too powerful of a central government, which is what they envisioned. So when they set this up, they don't have any president. It was an executive branch only, and they could not tax the states or the citizens. So there was no tax money coming in at all. The only way they could get money was if the states would supply money or supply troops to create a national military. Okay, so one more time just so we understand. So the Articles of Confederation, we also like to call these the AOC. The writers disliked it. They disliked taxation without representation, so the federal government could not tax. Okay, they also did not want a large central government. So the states didn't have to follow any federal laws or treaties. They essentially were like their own little countries. The people that wrote the Articles of Confederation, the Founding Fathers, they did not want to have to follow the British legislation, British laws. So states actually trumped federal laws. So federal laws today trump state laws. But back then, and during the Articles of Confederation, it was the other way around. There was too much power in their vision that was in the hands of the king, so they didn't have an executive branch. There was no president. There was only one branch of government, and that was the legislature. They did not even have a judicial branch. They did not like the fact that the king could change the laws anytime they wanted to. So if there was an amendment, it had to have 100% unanimous change to the articles, and laws required 9 out of 13 states agreement, so which was pretty tough. All right, so now you have the information you need. Go ahead and do the case studies and dig a little bit deeper into why the Articles of Confederation fell apart.